Hey everyone, and welcome back to this explainer. Today we're actually stepping back in time. We've got this incredible vintage typewritten document that lays out, well, the ultimate rules for hunting and sportsmanship. And it's not just about how to physically hold a rifle. It's a really profound look at the ethics, the intense discipline, and the absolute life or death responsibilities of being a hunter in a bygone era.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to cover three main things today. First, the true Shikari code. Second, the strict rules for shooting. And finally, we'll wrap things up with the safety first rhyme. All right, part 1, the true Shikari code. So right on page 10 of our source text, we get this definition of a Shikari. Basically, a Shikari is a true sportsman. But here's the thing, it's not a title you're just handed, it's one you earn. A Shikari is bound by these unwritten rules of fair play. It's a highly honorable persona that's all about exercising real skill, giving the game a fair chance, and absolutely crucially, avoiding any unnecessary suffering.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the authentic vintage typewriter text right here. The author literally titles this page, "Some Unwritten Rules for the True Shikari." Kind of funny, right? Even though they're physically written down for us to read, the author considers them to be these inherent, understood morals that any decent person should just already know. Let's break down these rapid-fire unwritten rules. First up, a good sportsman never shoots sitting birds. It involves zero skill and totally violates that sense of fair play. Second, no shooting from motor cars. You drive to the area, sure, but then you get out and walk. Shooting from a car? The text actually calls it unsporting in the highest degree. Third, never shoot out of season. And fourth, never shoot into the brown. That basically means you don't just fire blindly into a massive flock of birds or a dense herd of buck. Doing that requires zero skill and usually just results in wounding animals. You have to pick out the animal with the finest head or single out one specific bird.
The text also places a huge emphasis on protecting animals during their breeding seasons. There's this standout quote directly from the document. Every decent person shrinks from killing a female carrying its young and from shooting little bachas. And bachas, by the way, is a term for the young. The author pragmatically points out that without a close season to protect them, you'd very soon have no game left to hunt at all. So conservation is really just baked right into their ethics.
And finally, for the Shikari, causing unnecessary suffering is the ultimate cardinal sin. If you wound an animal, you are obligated to go after it and humanely end its suffering. The text specifically warns that if you wound a dangerous animal, think a tiger, a panther, or a bison, you absolutely must track it down. Not only is the animal suffering, but a wounded predator is highly likely to attack and cause human deaths. Oh, and the author also strictly mandates that you can never let your beaters or coolies be cruel. It's totally on the hunter to actively teach them how to dispatch a wounded animal quickly and humanely.
Moving right along to part 2, strict rules for shooting.
Now, we kind of need to contrast the philosophy of that first page with what we're looking at next. Those unwritten rules, they were all about sportsmanship, fairness, and character. But these next rules are uncompromising life or death procedures. There is absolutely no gray area here. These are the strict, mechanical, physical laws of handling a weapon so that everybody goes home alive. So, looking at page 11 of the document, you can really feel the shift in tone. The heading clearly states these are rules which must be strictly observed. And the author leaves this really practical note at the bottom. He says, while this all sounds easy, shooting is an exciting business, and unless one is instructed in these matters, one is apt to shoot first and think afterwards. That psychological reality right there, that's exactly why these strict rules exist.
So the crucial point is how you actually carry the weapon. The author identifies only 2 safe ways to do this, to ensure you never point the barrel at anyone. The first is at the slope, which means the barrels are pointing well into the air. But, you got to be careful not to let them sag toward your neighbor's head. The second way is at the secure, barrels pointing firmly down at the ground, making sure you aren't aiming at your buddy's feet or, your own.
The procedural mandates for gun handling here are fast and firm. Always unload the second it's unnecessary to be loaded. If you're climbing a gate, jumping a ditch, or even just pushing through thick scrub where a stray twig might catch your trigger, you have to break your gun, or honestly, just unload it entirely. Also, when walking up birds, you must keep your dressing in line. If you lag behind or wander ahead, you instantly become a danger to everyone. And for driven birds, find out exactly where your neighbors are and never ever change your position.
The document calls out one specific mistake as being incredibly common and highly dangerous: shooting along the line of guns. Just imagine swinging your gun to track a bird flying past the line of your fellow shooters and pulling the trigger right as the barrel sweeps over their heads. The author calls this following across the line, and it is an absolute non-negotiable violation of safety. Just don't do it.
Beyond just the immediate line of shooters, there's this massive need for broader situational awareness. The rule is simple. Never shoot blind into a hedge or a bush, and never shoot at a low bird unless you are 100% certain no one is behind it. The author vividly tells the hunter to always make a mental picture of their surroundings. You need to look out for people plowing fields, reaping crops, or maybe a woman at a well. If a bird flies toward where you know someone is, you just let it go. You do not take the shot.
Let's move to our final section, Part 3, the Safety First Rhyme. So over on page 12 of the material, the author introduces this pedagogical tool, a storybook-like poem. The heading simply reads, "Remember, safety first," and try to learn the following excellent little rhyme by heart. By setting these life-saving rules to a rhythmic meter, the author made sure they'd just stick in a hunter's mind out in the field.
Let's check out the first stanza. It goes, "Never, never let your gun pointed be at anyone. That it may unloaded be matters not the least to me." I love that. It beautifully reinforces the golden rule of muzzle awareness. It just completely eliminates the excuse of, "Oh, but I thought it was unloaded." Nope. Treat every gun as loaded, always.
The second stanza deals with navigating obstacles. When a hedge or fence you cross, though of time it cause a loss, from the gun your cartridge take, for the greater safety's sake. Notice how it directly acknowledges the annoyance of it, though of time it cause a loss. The rhyme is literally training the hunter to just accept that minor frustration in exchange for guaranteed safety.
Then the third stanza tackles that super dangerous mistake we just talked about. If twixt you and neighboring gun, bird may fly or beast may run, let this maxim e'er be thine, follow not across the line. It perfectly echoes that stern warning from page 11, translating a really critical field maneuver into a catchy, unforgettable maxim.
Stanza 4 focuses on situational awareness. Stops and beaters oft unseen lurk behind some leafy screen. Calm and steady always be, never shoot where you can't see. It's a fantastic reminder of the hidden human element in the field, the unseen folks working hard to support the hunt, and reinforces the absolute mandate against shooting blind into the brush.
And this brilliantly illustrates the gravity of the entire document in the final stanza. It reads, "You may kill or you may miss, but at all times think of this, all the pheasants ever bred won't repay for one man dead." It just totally strips away the sport aspect and exposes the ultimate life or death stakes of what they're actually doing out there. It's a really sobering conclusion to a simple rhyme.
Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to wrap up our explainer today. We've explored the unwritten ethics of the shikari on page 10, the strict physical laws of gun safety on page 11, and the rhymes used to cement them into memory on page 12. But it makes you wonder, does modern sportsmanship still universally uphold this exact standard? That all the game in the world isn't worth a single human tragedy? Thank you so much for joining me to unpack this document. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.